Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Welcome back. It's another episode of Action Movie Anatomy here on a Thursday afternoon. We are excited to talk to you guys right now about the very first Spider-Man film we've ever covered on this show. It's Spider-Man Homecoming. This movie is damn hilarious. We'll see you guys in just one quick second.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Action Movie Anatomy.
Boom! That intro was almost as good as mine last week.
Yeah.
Look, man, I've been meaning to talk to you ever since last week. I think we should trade roles.
I've been getting phone calls.
I've been getting a lot of phone calls. A lot of recognition's been coming my way.
got a strong offer on the table.
I really do.
Yeah.
It's from an online network.
Live Jasmine. They want me to.
Dude, we're back together.
We're back.
Back
It's been a
together
while.
again. It's been a couple of weeks.
It's weird. It's weird. You know, it's amazing how you can do something for as many years as we've done this show, and then a couple weeks off of doing the show together, and it feels like I haven't done the show in a year.
Oh, absolutely.
It feels like so off. Even when we miss 1 week, but when we miss multiple weeks like this, and we didn't actually miss any, but...
Well, yeah, that was the other thing is that, excuse me, I'm dying. The other thing is that, you know, you and I, we skipped weeks in the past when one of us was out of town, but, you know, with the way that our schedules have become over the last 6 months, even just the last couple of months,
Yeah.
we would have to miss a lot more than just one episode a year or something like that. It would have been like, it would have been a handful of episodes this year. So we did, I mean, what'd you guys think? We did it without our partners.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed my episode. I watched yours. It was a good one as well.
I laughed a lot in your episode.
I'm sad that I'm not going to get to watch Starship Troopers unless I want to watch Starship Troopers in my own time.
Right,
I haven't seen it in a long time, but that's okay. Today, guys, we are covering Spider-Man Homecoming on Action Movie Anatomy. Now, I want to know how many episodes we've done. I think got to be close to like 180, somewhere in that range.
I think we're around 180, like 25 million people, right around there.
Something in
that
that
little
range.
ballpark.
Because we're probably kind of, as we get into the new year, we're going to be circling episode 200 pretty soon.
Yeah, and I remember like when we were getting close to episode 100, we were like, oh my god,
How
this
long
is
can the
such
show
a huge
really go
thing.
for,
Yeah, we weren't sure
right?
if it was. Yeah, and now we look back another almost 100 episodes later, and it's like, what do we do for 2?
There's movies that I can't remember us doing. There's movies that I see on the list that I legitimately don't recall us actually covering the film.
You and I have had many conversations. It's usually you that has to remind me, like, we've done that.
Yeah, we did that movie.
Like, no. Are you sure?
I would remember.
And then, and like, even though he says that we've done it, I don't go and look on the YouTube channel because that's giving too much credit to Ben already. I go and look at my own AMA outlines.
Yeah, right. To see
if I've written one, and he's always right.
Yeah, 100%. We've got a memory for things like this. So, guys, this is Action Movie Anatomy. We want to do a quick thank you, shout out, welcoming our guests of the Action Army, Ronald Liu and Nick Widener. We salute you. Welcome to the Action Army. Thank you for being members of the Patreon. We'll get to that in a little bit. We cover action movies on this show. Those action movies adhere to 4 basic rules. Rule number 1, the hero always plays by their own rules.
100% wrong. Spider-Man does not. Well, actually, because he doesn't, but he does.
Right.
Because he's a kid. So you have to follow a set number of rules. It's like there's a superhero running in the hallway, and the teacher goes, "Don't run in the hallway." You know what I mean? He has to follow the rules. So it's very interesting. But he takes the tracking device out of the suit. He lies to Tony. He lies to Happy.
Yeah.
Happy's wonderful.
He's wonderful. Yeah. Rule number 2, the hero and the villain are always the smartest people, beings, things, dinosaurs, what have you in the room. I mean, the Vulture manages to get under the radar, kind of in a lot of ways outsmart the...
They got trucks. They got families.
Yeah, exactly. He's so good.
He's amazing.
And then, and yeah, I think Peter, they're the two that seem to know what's going on. Nobody else really does.
Yeah. Downey is... It's interesting because the way that he tells Peter not to deal with things is interesting because he's the one that would do that, but he's so much more capable.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Rule number 3, the movie is driven by police, military, political, or mercenary figure. Definitely not.
Yeah, he's not technically an Avenger yet.
No, I mean, he's just a kid.
He's just a kid with a suit.
Rule number 4, the movie contains a minimum of 1 explosion. There's a bunch of explosions in this movie. The MCU is ripe with explosions.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, those are the rules of Action Movie Anatomy. So coming up on the show today, guys, we are going to be answering your AMA questions, doing all your favorite segments, like Fist Pump Moment, like Thesis Statement. We are going to be ranking our Spider-Man. The 3 iterations of Spider-Man in our lifetime. We're going to choose our favorite. And then finally, we are going to actually answer the questions. That's the last thing I have. I was going to read it twice.
No, there's a lot of questions. Yeah, we were going to do another over-under proper on Keaton, but I think we'll actually probably cover that in the AMA
Seems
questions.
that way, yes. So without further ado, I say we get into our Twitter shout-outs.
What? Is this a thing?
Yeah, nice.
What is this?
What?
Oh, our Twitters.
What's your Twitter?
I was like, he's throwing a new segment in. My Twitter is @AndrewGuy. You can find me on Twitter @AndrewGuy. You can find me on Instagram, @AndrewGuy.
Full disclosure, I was going to go to a different segment, but I tricked him, and I went into Twitter because I forgot. You guys can find me on Twitter @Ben Bateman Media. That's how you can find me. Let's watch the trailer.
But first,
Curveball.
Drew, stop saying curveball. It's never going to happen.
576 possible web shooter combinations.
That is awesome. I can keep that suit?
I've been watching this trailer.
Doesn't fit me.
What is our next retreat?
What, next mission?
doesn't fit
we'll
me.
call you. All right.
It's not a hug. I'm just grabbing the door for you. I'm not there yet.
Love the slow under. Yeah.
He just steals the scenes that he's in.
He steals the movies, always. Yeah.
Stark internship.
The movie's also more fun to watch now that Infinity War has happened.
Yes,
Their
and you know.
relationship is even better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they tease the Iron Spider, but you don't actually get it until that movie.
So,
God, that movie's good.
The Iron Spider is the sweetest suit in the whole Marvel universe.
The legs.
wait a minute. You guys aren't the real Avengers. Hulk gives it away. New move I'm working on? Not bad. God, this feels so strange. These weapons are crazy dangerous.
It's such a different tone, Spider-Man, than all the other
Yes.
superheroes.
Yeah.
So in every iteration, they have to really go for this very intentional.
They want you to feel like a kid.
Yeah.
But this,
Activating.
they executed the best in this one.
The world's changing, boys. It's time we change too.
It's sweet too that the Vulture is an older character in the comic books, and so it's good that they cast an older,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean? That they don't try to young it up.
Yeah, and I also like that, you know, the Vulture. It's important for the Vulture's suit to seem adolescent compared to Spider-Man's suit.
Yeah, right,
You know what I mean? Like the technology.
Yeah.
What are you hiding, Peter?
Her star
Yeah.
has literally exploded since this film, and she was already huge when this movie came out.
Yeah, this was her. This was like the feature film thing. Where they're like, oh, Zendaya's in this
Yeah.
movie. And now she's like,
Oh, there's subsystems in here.
I mean, she was already massively famous.
Oh,
but just
absolutely.
to a different
But-
audience.
Yes.
Sick of Mr. Stark treating me like a kid.
But you are a kid.
Yeah, a kid who can stop a bus with his bare hands.
It is fun how strong he is.
I love. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite things about Spider-Man is how strong he is.
Yeah, like I love when he's running out of the homecoming and he just lifts up the lockers to get his backpack.
Yeah,
He just like
yeah.
lifts them up real quick. Let me just lift up all these lockers.
There's just like a handful of things that happen throughout all of the movies where, like,
Yeah.
I love when he's fighting Bucky and Hawkeye or
Yeah.
Falcon,
Right.
And he just like catches. He's like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
you got a metal arm!"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Jesus, he's
Yeah,
insane."
He's insanely strong. So yeah, guys, that's the trailer for Spider-Man: Homecoming. Pretty good trailer.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think maybe the first one was the best one, the original one that came out.
Yeah, I think there was a different one.
But that was, yeah, it's
if I
good. I mean,
recall.
it makes you feel exactly how the movie's supposed to make you
Yes,
feel.
exactly. So, guys, we are going to get into thesis statement. This is your biggest, boldest thought about the film. This is the thing that if this movie came up in conversation, you'd say, "Here's the thing about Spider-Man: Homecoming." Drop the mic. You'd like this is should be the greatest, the only, the first, the last. Never. This is my favorite part of this movie. Is
I'm gonna hop in first. My favorite part of this movie. Yeah, so mine.
cut you off.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut you off here with a new segment. I truly believe in, and you helped me a little bit here with this before the show. I truly believe that this is the worst reboot story with the best Spider-Man. So it's the worst first in any of the Spider-Man franchise in the sense because there's no Uncle Ben. There's no bit by the spider. You just talk about it. And I
Right.
understand as an audience and as just a social group, as a society, we want things to happen like this. And we already know how Spider-Man gets bit. They talk about it really quick. He's like, "Oh, I got bit by a spider. Spider's dead now." Da da da.
Yeah.
But that's like the thing as a kid when you're watching the movie
Yeah.
that makes you think you could become a superhero. That's what makes you think when you watch. I mean, look, you look at Nolan making the best Batman movies ever made, and what did he do in Begins? He threw in the same damn scene we've seen a million times.
yeah.
And it's so important to see the Wayne parents die so you can understand why Bruce is the way he is. Now, I don't know who should have been Uncle Ben.
Right.
But I do know that Uncle Ben part of the Tobey Maguires and even the Andrew Garfields made you care that much more. It made you want Tobey Maguire to kill that guy. It made you want him to understand that Spider-Man needed to see morality and understand that you can't just kill everyone that you want to.
Who plays Uncle Ben in the Andrew Garfield one?
Sheen's in the Tobey Maguire ones. Is that right? Or is
No,
Martin Sheen?
that's Cliff Robertson, so it's Martin Sheen.
it's Martin Sheen, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So yeah, man, I love this. I think he's the best Spider-Man. I think Tom Holland's the best Spider-Man, and I actually think this might be the best Spider-Man movie, as weird as that is. But
We are going to be ranking our Spider-Man later in the show, so we'll save,
I'll save
save
that.
the statement to really dissect that.
But for the movies itself, especially the first in the franchise, because we're about to get another one. What's it called? Far Away from Home?
Far From Home, I
Far
think.
From Home.
Yeah.
I just need it. I need it. And like I think when you look back in hindsight at the Batman movies, you're like, did they really need to throw it in there? But now it's been 10 years. And you're like, yeah, they really needed to throw it in there. It's
Yeah.
so important. It's only 5 minutes.
My thesis statement is going to be that the introduction of Spider-Man is the cleverest use of a character in the MCU. So it's perfect. The fact that they introduce him in Civil War, not
Right.
in his own movie. The fact that he's in Civil War for just this moment, but it's such an effective moment. And on top of that, that in this movie,
They
have the phone flashbacks to his time in Civil War, so you get the background of that. Like, it's so clever, it's so well executed, it's so funny, it's so fun. It just ties it all together in a way that you're like, this is just smart movie making.
Yes,
This is
yes.
just, like, you don't need the origin story because they give you that. Like where he comes from, it's okay. He says, I got bit by a spider, and they just, I would be bored with the 25 to 35 minutes that we would need to do the origin story in this
But
movie.
that's why I think you could do it in 5. You could do it in 5 minutes because we know the story.
Yeah,
That's
but if you're
thing.
gonna do it in 5 minutes because we know the story, why do it at all? Like, if
Because
it's gonna-
look at the way they did it in Batman Begins. It is literally 5 minutes of the film. And it's the same thing that we've seen 100 times. The pearls, the gunshot, the parents, the leaving the opera, like all of the things are there. But it matters. And like just because so what if I hadn't seen Civil War? What if I didn't know Spider-Man was what if I'm a noob in the movie world and I just love Spider-Man and I go and watch this and it opens with Infinity War and I'm like, well, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, well, because Ned says, I love Ned. Ned might be
great.
the best part of the whole movie.
Well, because he's us.
Yeah.
He's just us if our best friend was a superhero.
And he's just funny. This movie's just really funny.
Guy in
like,
the chair.
I love when he's like, Peter, where are you? The hat's not working. Not cool.
Yeah, he's like so mad at his superhero friend. Bail on me.
The hat gives me confidence. Like, Marissa Tomei is wonderful.
Yeah, she's great.
I love Marissa
I love
Tomei.
the creepy Downey comments towards her.
Let's send her. Let's send Nay a video. Yeah. You look lovely.
Oh, that's great. Okay. So what exactly is your thesis? If you were in one sentence.
The introduction of Spider-Man as a character in the MCU is the cleverest use of a character in the entire universe.
Yeah, I think that's 100% correct. I'm trying to see if there's any other good thesis statements that I'm missing in here, but it's just a lot of people kind of going back and forth. That's the one thing I love about when we cover movies like in the Marvel Universe or like a Star Wars. Or Lord
Everybody
of the
has an
Rings.
opinion. You have a lot of people that want to talk about it. People,
Yeah, there's more people in the chat than normal, and there's a lot of people talking. So, guys, if you want to throw in your thesis statement real quick, I'll try to come back to them, but we're going to move on to another very fun segment.
another loved segment on the show. This is Fist Pump Moment. Something happens, you look around, you're like, are you seeing this right now? This is so awesome. I get to watch the rest of this movie. This is great. You're so excited. You want to call your buddy. This movie has a lot of good ones, but for me, it is through and through, no question, the moment in the car with Keaton.
That's mine.
How can it not be?
It's gotta be.
When he leans back with the gun,
I love that he like takes the gun out in the car. It's such a weird like
just holding the gun.
yeah, not even showing. He even hides it behind the headrest. Peter knows it's there, and also the fact that he's Spider-Man. He probably knows that the gun isn't that threatening to him. But there's something about it.
And just everything about the way that Keaton talks, like Keaton's entire character as not as the Vulture, but as Liz's dad,
Yeah.
who is the Vulture,
Yes.
is so good. It's
From
like
the very beginning, you understand. You're like, this is a man that thinks the world has treated him like shit. He's worked hard to get where he is, and he will sacrifice nothing to stay there.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, sacrifice everything to stay there. And you get it from that very first scene. It's amazing how well they do that.
Yeah, I thought that was great. It's like a very smart use of the character to be like, we're going to really show you this guy who you all as an audience have kind of come to know and love this actor. Like, he's not a guy you really want to punch in the face. You kind of like him. He's a pretty likable actor.
Everyone loves Keaton.
And like, we're gonna show you that he's like, he's like hired a crew, rolls up his sleeves, like he's just gonna haul junk.
Yeah.
And it's after this like, again, the whole way that they use the Avengers and New York City and everything, like, it's just really smart. I love it. But yeah, that scene in the car, man, like the stuff that he says, like nothing is more important than family.
Yeah.
Like this is
And like
saved
the
my daughter's
slow,
life.
like I love that that Liz is just totally putting Peter on blast, but she
Yeah.
doesn't realize. No, you weren't there.
Right.
Remember? And he's like, no.
Yeah.
And then when Keaton realizes at the light,
Yeah.
that is such a great moment.
It's a great moment. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those great twists where when you're pitching it, you're like, he's dating this girl at school, Liz. She's the popular girl. Turns out Liz's dad is the Vulture. You're like, oh, sweet.
And I'll just say this because I'm the brown guy on the show. It's a quick like turn because
Yeah.
she's half black. You know what I mean? Like so
you don't see it coming at all.
You don't think her dad's obviously when you look at her, but like you
Yeah.
don't even think about it. And
It's not the
just-
it's not the Jonah Hill dating Ice Cube's daughter in 22 Jump Street moment, which is pretty
also
great.
excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and when you find out it's the dad, when he opens the door in the house, I love that their house is like insane.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Of course
for-
it is.
Of course it is for
Yeah.
a guy that hauls junk, huh? But yeah, so I mean I don't have one then. That is my fist pump.
There's some other really good ones. Like definitely, I definitely love the stuff with the cell phone flashbacks. That whole sequence is hilarious to me. Like, just Happy's really funny, and like, just like him, like waking, like him surprising Happy on the airplane.
Everything with him and Happy is the greatest.
It's really
it's
funny.
so funny. Let's see, we got Bassist 1996 here saying when Keaton is revealed to be Liz's dad, absolutely. Paul Denuzzo agrees. So does Alex McFarland. Yes, I know Spider-Man isn't bulletproof. Thank you. He's got fast reflexes and he's very strong.
Guys, Andrew's stupid, and he thinks
Yeah.
that Spider-Man is bulletproof.
I also think that he can see through walls. Fist pump. When Keaton doesn't reveal who Spider-Man is in the prison, that's a very interesting and subtle
Right.
fist pump. What's that guy's name again?
Who are you talking about? Michael Mando?
Yeah, is it
Scorpion?
Yeah, right.
I forgot that that's the post-credit scene. I didn't watch all the way through that this time.
Yeah, I did because it was
Yeah.
just playing on in the background. Let's see. Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man, not because of his age, but because of his mannerisms, goofiness, all of his personality, really. I think what it is he's the best Spider-Man and the best Peter Parker.
Right, that's always an important distinction
Right,
when you
but
have in the
yeah,
suit.
we'll
Which
get
do you
there.
like more? So I think that's probably a good time for us to loop back to what you were talking about with your favorite Spider-Man.
Yeah, okay.
The best. Because there have been 3 in our lifetime. Really, there have been 3 Spider-Man in feature films. You have Andrew Garfield, you have Tobey Maguire, and you have Tom Holland. And Tom Holland has now shown up in 3 movies, right?
Yeah, which is crazy.
He's shown up in 3 movies. He's got a 4th coming out. 4th and 5th, if he does show back up in Infinity War Part 2. I don't know if he
Right.
will or won't, but
Yeah.
and Tobey Maguire was in 3, and Andrew Garfield was in 2. And Andrew Garfield, as we were talking about just before the show, he had just come off of The Social Network, which was his surprise introduction to the world, and he was great in that movie. It's one of my favorite films, and he got to be Spider-Man for a couple years. He did 2 films between, I think, 2012 and 2014 or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's like, it just happened in this weird time where Sony had the rights. They hadn't worked out the deal with the MCU yet. The MCU hadn't really developed into what it eventually would become. You know, I think the first Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield came out the same year as Avengers, so it was a few years before Sony was like, okay, it would be really smart of us to just like make sure we could make this character work in the context of your universe. 'Cause
Right.
You're doing a lot better than we are. And the Tobey Maguire ones are in a bygone era. That's 2002, 2004, and 2007, I believe.
I think that's correct.
So, and that's before Iron Man. That's before the MCU existed at all. So, each one of them has a very distinctly different feel, right? Like-
Very different, and that's some of the complaints. So here's the thing. So here's some of the complaints about all of them. Tobey Maguire is a little bitch. Like that's something that people actually just say out loud for why they don't like Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
And that he's just not a likable actor. He doesn't have that movie star charisma that you need, and you really see that come through in Spider-Man 3.
When you find out that he's Michael Cera's character from Molly's Game, he's the asshole poker player.
Yes.
It just makes you dislike him even more. Like
I forgot that.
Yeah, he's supposed. I mean, this is obviously all like off the record stuff that people
Right.
say. Like, I don't think it's ever been confirmed, but like supposedly Tobey Maguire is that asshole.
That's supposed to be who he
Yeah.
is. That's so interesting. I didn't know that. I love it.
Yeah.
And then the thing about Andrew Garfield was he was too cool. He was
Yeah.
like a skateboarding, like Andrew Garfield's a very good-looking kid.
Yeah.
You know, like Peter Parker, I mean, obviously Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire aren't bad-looking, but there's this thing about Andrew Garfield where he was too cool to be Peter Parker. And it's very important that Peter Parker has those moments where you're like, it's the little engine that could. You feel for him, you know? And so
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like they're all three of them have a totally different feel, and I have to say that my favorite of the three, pretty far and away, is Tom Holland.
-2.
He's just to me, he feels like he gets the vibe of the character in the way that I always wanted Spider-Man to feel. But it's also this movie. It's also the movie and the way, like, my other fist pump moment might have been when he asks Liz to homecoming, because like
Right.
it just works, and he's like so excited. He's like, "May, I need your help," and like,
Or like for me, another one was when he got the suit.
Yeah.
You know, the suit for real. It's one of those things where like as a kid watching this movie,
Yeah.
you relate to the homecoming thing. You relate to being scared to ask the girl out, and then also like as a man with a boy inside of your body still, you're like, I want that suit.
Right.
I want to just play with it, just like he does.
well, and this is also one of my favorite things. So, in this world that we live in now, there's all these concepts that we all sort of acknowledge. Like, we acknowledge these concepts that like there are satellites everywhere that could see anything at any time, right? So like, if you're not covered by lead, the satellites can see you. He just like runs into the alley and like starts like like putting on the Spider-Man suit.
Right.
Just like, let me just take my pants off. If somebody walks in, they're gonna see who I am. Doesn't care.
Yep.
Like just
Yep.
doesn't, and it doesn't matter, and they don't address it. And it's like,
Yeah, because that's what a kid would do.
yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Which is like how Tony Stark obviously knows that he's Spider-Man, but like you would think that like some government agency of bad guys would also know that he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And be able to like capture May.
Yeah, which we
Yeah.
saw that already, and we don't want anyone to capture May. Like, you know, it sucks.
No.
Yeah. Another fist pump. When Peter is stuck under the rubble, his screams are very genuine. He was truly in trouble, yelling out help. It was very. It's very important for Spider-Man to be vulnerable, to be
Yeah.
a kid, to
Yeah.
have moments of being scared, because it makes him relatable. And it also is like, again, he's, what is he, 15, 14? Is
yeah.
what they say in the movie, 14?
Yeah, 15 now, I
Yeah, that
think
he's
it
yeah.
says,
So anyway, yeah, those are all excellent. I love Tom Holland. I have to completely agree that he's my favorite. Who's your second favorite?
Andrew Garfield.
Me too.
Tobey Maguire sucks.
He sucks. And the thing is that if one and two are pretty good,
yeah.
three is so appallingly, shockingly
bad.
bad,
Yeah.
that it makes everything good that he did in 1 and 2.
He's not even
count.
like what make them bad. Like they 1 and 2 both have like a lot of good moments. It's like something about not. There's a blue chip quality, like a brand now that the MCU has gotten right, where like they understand it, like they get it. They're like, okay, for this one to work, we need him to be kind of really playful and fun and charming and likable, but it's also got to feel like kind of like a John Hughes like coming of age movie.
Well, yeah, because this isn't a superhero movie. This is a coming of age movie with superheroes in it.
Yeah.
A superheroes.
And so it's all right. Like it just feels the way it's supposed to feel, the way you would expect it to feel. That scene you're talking about with the rubble in the chat there, that's I think a super famous comic book scene.
Okay.
Yeah, Marissa Serafini up in the booth today. How you doing, Marissa?
I'm great, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing well. Are you singing Star is Born songs to yourself?
Tell me
You know it.
something good.
Over and over again.
You can actually see, I don't know if you'll be able to find it, but if you want to like Google something like Spider-Man comic book, maybe like pushing off rubble or something like that, you'll probably find the sequence of pages where it's like there's water dripping off the rocks, and I think this is it. Maybe this is a reboot.
Well, and also from what I've been told from you nerds that read comic books your whole life, is that he is like the perfect iteration of all the things that made Peter Parker, and all the things that made Spider-Man.
Yes, there. So this is pretty much it. I think I don't exactly recall like where it existed first,
Like
but
why it happened.
Yeah, something happens. Maybe he's fighting the Vulture. I don't know. I can't. It's been so long, but
Did the Vulture have superpowers in the comic books, or was he just a
that's definitely the
dude?
one right there?
Oh yeah.
I don't remember if the Vulture had superpowers. What I think might have happened is that like the suit or something about the Vulture outfit, like maybe he was like aging really fast or something. I don't remember, honestly. He was one of those characters that was like always about the way that he looked. He was never as good of a villain in the Spider-Man world.
Oh, that's a cool picture.
Yeah,
it's all zoomed in here on my phone.
Remember this? Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that scene in the movie. It's one of those things where like obviously you're already completely engaged in the film. But if you aren't engaged in a movie, if you're doing something else, there's moments where you hear things in films and you kind of got to turn and just like your whole world is then brought into the movie.
Definitely.
That is definitely one of those moments. So a lot of great fist pumps from you guys. We had the same one. And yeah, I think a lot of people actually agree with us that most people don't actually like Tobey Maguire. I mean, I had some of you guys respond here in the chat. There's a lot of people in the chat right now.
I mean, here's the thing. In the 90s,
he did great.
And when you're casting this movie in the whatever it's the late 90s or early 2000s, like when you're casting it, like I don't know who else you cast. Like that's the question. It's like because I don't think it's about the casting that makes the movie seem bad in retrospect. It's that it's just they didn't quite understand or have the flavor of what these movies were supposed to feel like yet.
Well, yeah, and to come back to my point about the movie now is I don't even know who would have played Uncle Ben to make me care enough. You know what I mean? So it's interesting because you look back and Sheen, or not, I guess it wasn't Sheen, it was, what's his name again?
Cliff Robertson.
Yeah, Cliff Robertson and Tobey Maguire were perfect in the 90s, but maybe you flash forward to 2017 and Uncle Ben is too old, too tired, too tried and done, and then Tom Holland is the perfect iteration of Spider-Man. We all agree. So,
we all agree. So speaking of Tom Holland, let's talk a little bit about where he was in his career when this film came out. In 2017, he had made Pilgrimage, The Lost City of Z in 2016, Edge of Winter in 2016. He was not a nobody, but he was a very small actor. The other films that he had shown up in, most famously, he's the son in The Impossible. Remember the movie with, I think it's J.A. Bayona. Say what?
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor and Naomi Watts. It's the tsunami movie.
Nope.
About the family that gets.
Oh, he's the kid.
The family that gets split up.
Yeah, he's the son?
He's the son. I think
Holy
that's like
shit.
I think that's like 2012 or 2014. Something.
Yeah,
like that.
no, that's got to be like 14.
2012.
2012.
Oh, is it? Jesus. Man, time flies.
And so he's the son in that. So he's very young. And so he had been acting. He had been in things. But, you know, it's that same thing you were talking about with like Zendaya a second ago.
So it said Gary Oldman for Uncle Ben.
I mean, he can do
he
anything
can do
as far
anything.
as I'm concerned. God, speaking of like
Hunter Killer.
Yeah. I'm so excited for that film. It's going to be so good.
We're like the only two people.
I think it comes out in like a couple weeks. I
Really?
think it's like October 26th.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We're doing it on the show.
Oh, we will.
I don't even
There's
care
not
if
even a
it's-
question.
If it's bad.
Oh, it will be bad.
It will be bad. Maybe we can get Jerry B on the show.
We'll try again.
I'd love to come on the show.
I'd love to go on the show.
I'm sorry, babe.
I'm so fucking thirsty.
So yeah, like
Didn't
basically.
you tell me there's a line in Geostorm where somebody talks about how old he looks?
Yeah, yeah. He's like he says your physical appearance doesn't match the number of years that your body's been on this earth, or something like that. It's a very great sentence.
I also it's astounding to me that guy is sober.
I know.
I don't understand it. I feel
He
like
looks like he drinks a bottle of Jack a day.
I feel like it's a typo.
He's the opposite of sober, is what they meant to write.
We should just ditch this show and just start a new show about Jerry B films.
The Jerry B.
When
Chronicles.
Den of Thieves 2 comes out, I can't even wait.
Speaking of people that we love, Keaton is a person that you and I are a huge fan of.
Yeah.
So he did Minions in 2015, Spotlight in 2015, and The Founder in 2016. But really, what it was, in my mind, was The Other Guys.
In 2010.
In 2010, I think The Other Guys was all of us being like, I just love this guy. I forgot how much I enjoyed watching him exist. And
Right.
then you watch him make fun of himself.
Yeah.
And he's hilarious. Like, he's my favorite part, I think, of The Other Guys. He's so wonderful.
He's so good.
He's hilarious. Yeah, so
I don't know what the last thing he was in. Marissa, can we pull up the IMDb on Michael Keaton? I want to see what he was in before 2010, because his big comeback moment, really, the one that the world remembers, is Birdman. That's like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, Michael Keaton.
2015, you're right.
2014, yeah.
Oh,
so
the
it's
Oscar in 15,
yeah, so 14, 15, like that's the few years prior to this. That's why we always know this. If you have your big critically acclaimed role,
Right.
then you get your superhero movie. It's always what happens. And so
Someone else said Costner for his dad would have been perfect. He was already Superman's dad. Lungful Drummer from the UK says Holland's dad, Dominic, is something of a TV personality here. So that's a bit of probably how he got his start.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Dominic Holland. So you keep scrolling down here. Okay, so Minions. So then, Birdman. Okay, so prior to this, you got Need for Speed, RoboCop,
the new RoboCop. I remember him in there.
Blindsided. Okay, Noah.
Yeah, so he was like, something had happened where, actually,
30
sorry, keep
Rock.
going down,
Yeah,
Marissa.
a little bit more here. So he's Yeah, okay. So the other guys. Yeah, so pretty. Oh, yeah, he plays Ken in Toy Story 3.
So
Remember
maybe
that?
that's what it is.
The Ken doll.
Maybe it's just the fact that like people were starting to be like, remember Keaton? Let's just start putting him in movies in smaller roles.
Yeah, because he's great into the like early 2000s a little bit, like late 90s into the early 2000s. But then he definitely disappears for almost a solid decade there. Like he fell off pretty hard. Something about, I think that if you play Batman, at some point it's pretty hard for the world to like truly forget about you.
Right. Yeah, and he was an excellent Batman.
Yeah, he was great.
He was
great.
He was actually my favorite. Maybe my favorite.
Favorite Batman, favorite
Maybe.
Bruce Wayne.
Batman.
I love the whole.
I love them
package.
all. Yeah. Clooney's excellent.
You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Okay, so that's Keaton and that's Holland, and we'll talk more about their careers, or excuse me, Keaton's career probably more later on. But right now, we're going to take what?
We should do Batman '89 at some point.
Oh, totally.
Right?
We should do Batman '89 and what, '91?
Returns?
Yeah.
Yeah, Returns is '92.
'92.
Yeah.
I love both of those movies.
Yeah, Returns. I mean, I would do the others also, but they're horrible. Actually, Batman and Robin would be a lot of fun because that movie's bad.
Oh, dude, I could do all four of them.
Yeah.
Like, very easily, just as well as I did, like, Wind River. I could do Batman and Robin.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll cover all of them at some point.
But we're going to take a quick break from everything that we've been talking about here to talk about our Patreon. Patreon.com/Team Action. You guys can find all of our extra content there. We do videos twice a week now, and I'll let you keep talking, so I'm just talking for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, we have a ton of cool stuff going up this week, guys. We'll have a top 5 list going up this week. I want to say that it's top 5. Oh, it's top 5 Tom Cruise stunts.
Oh, from the Mission Impossible franchise specifically.
And I think it's John Getz maybe who submitted that
believe,
list.
and I will tell you that the number one made both of us laugh out loud.
It's really good. So that's going up this week. We also have a mini AMA going up this week on A Star Is Born because we both loved it. And then I have another match.
Yes.
I believe in the Schmodown that's airing like next week maybe.
Yeah, it's your second match, correct?
In the tournament. So we'll be talking down the results of that match, possibly with a special guest.
Yeah, and we didn't record our Stars Born AMA yet, did we?
The mini?
Yeah.
No, we did.
We did. Oh, we did.
Yeah.
We were just a little drunk.
One of us had a lot to drink.
One of us. Yeah, I was so excited for that. And
I was so excited.
No, I mean when like we mentioned it to the audience or to our fans, and they were like, "Yeah, 100%, we want to see that," because we absolutely loved that movie.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We even do a little 30-second rendition of Maybe It's Time.
I do remember
at
now.
the beginning of this.
I remember very well. Is there anything else we want to mention? Anything else we want to plug?
No, that's patreon.com/Team Action, guys. There's a bunch of different levels. If you donate $5 a month, you're able to submit those top 5 lists that we will then rank and discuss on the show. There's a bunch of different cool stuff, and actually, Drew and I were traveling a lot these last couple weeks, so there's gonna be a bunch of Patreon rewards. Some of you guys probably that are listening or watching have been expecting some Skype calls, things like that we're setting up. So stay tuned for that. Be sure to check it out.
So did Roxy talk about me watching A Star Is Born? Because I've heard a couple people mention me saying that I'm so lonely based off of her saying...
I think on Collider Live, Christian asked her, what did the guys think? And she was like, oh, they walked out, and Ben said that Andrew, the first thing he says, I'm so alone.
I love it. I love it because I've seen it pop up a handful of times on the internet, and now someone else just goes, Andrew, is it true or false? You said, oh God, I'm so alone after watching the movie. I absolutely did. I walked out, we were walking down the tunnel, and I was like, oh God, I'm so alone.
That's pretty fantastic.
It's wonderful. And I also love the cross there. The power of now saying Collider Live.
The power of the internet. The power of the internet, that one of our experiences watching a film can come out. You say something to me, it says something else that goes on a live show, and then it loops back around. I can't believe the world gets to hear that story because I offhandedly dropped it.
And it's a wonderful story. It was a great moment.
It's a great moment.
All right, so hopping back into this movie. This movie was written by like 9 different people. If you guys want, you can go to Wikipedia, you can read about it. But with these Marvel films and with the amount of subject material they have to pull from, and, the amount of money that goes into these films, they usually have massive teams of writers. It's very rare that it's just like one person, especially when it's a new franchise.
And it's also one of those things where like a certain amount of the script and there's another draft, and these guys get brought in from all different walks of life. So like John Francis Daly, that's the guy that wrote and directed Game Night.
Right.
He's like a comedy guy. John Watts, the director, obviously has some input there. Chris McKenna, Eric
I was
Summers.
going to say, we've covered them on the show before for some reason.
I mean, you look at what's happening right now with the Suicide Squad 2 script.
Yeah.
And now just James Gunn was just announced to be
How do you
involved.
what do you think about all that?
Well, I think that movie should never get made. Our friend was originally attached to that movie.
Yeah.
And then there was another guy that had come on DC Movie News with Roxy that was attached to that movie. And he had written a draft. And now James Gunn is apparently attached to write a draft.
After being fired from Gardens, which is
The
just,
whole entire
yeah,
Marvel
the whole
thing is bad.
weird.
I don't know. I mean, that movie just should never get made. It made a lot of money, so they're going to make a sequel.
Well, you keep talking about or not you specifically, but the world keeps talking about the DC universe just kind of trying to be Marvel. And this is a really weird and almost in bad taste thing to do when the most successful production company in the entire world fires a director for allegations of basically just being a little uncomfortable. Like they just don't want their name to be attached to it. What James did and how we feel about it, we will never discuss on this show. It's just not the time or the place. However, I will comment on the fact that DC hiring him after Marvel firing him when they have just shown time and time again that they are not as good at Marvel at making films just feels weird.
Actually, I'm a little more okay with it.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I think that the nature of the way the whole thing went with Gunn was sort of like there was a choice that Disney could have made. Like they had to make that judgment call. And they made the one that they wanted to make to protect their brand. They didn't want to associate. But the way that the whole cast rallied behind him, the way that everybody involved was like, look, we've worked with this guy for years. We've all made mistakes when we were younger. Like, I can't speak to it, but like, give the guy a chance.
Right.
They decided not to, and it's a judgment call that they make. But DC gets to look at that and just be like, okay, like that you have decided to not associate yourself with this brand because of the publicity stunt, but like this guy made the most intelligent and fun movie in your whole entire franchise twice.
Yeah.
We're gonna hire him because he's really good.
Yeah, and if Roman Polanski's proved anything in this business, it's about making the quality of your product and not really about the quality of your personality.
Exactly. People are willing to hate you, but like there are some people that get to work and there are some people that don't. And this is not the same thing as
obviously
Polanski. Yeah. It's not the same thing as Kevin Spacey. Like there are ones where it's like real egregious.
Yeah.
And then there's ones like this where it's like loose, it's allegations. It's like Disney just doesn't want to associate with that. We don't know. And apparently Warner Brothers is like, you know what? The shitstorm subsided. We'll take a chance on it.
Yeah, we'll try it out. Hopefully you can help our films out. So that being said, hopping into the director of this movie, John Watts. Not a lot about him on the internet. Watts was born and raised in Fountain, Colorado. He studied film at NYU, and before directing movies, he worked for commercials in a production company called Park Pictures. He is also married to a former talent agent and producer named Diane McGonigal. Ooh, that's a fun McGonagall. I like that name. Write that down. And he's also known for Cop Car, Spider-Man: Homecoming, of course, and Natural Selection in 2011. Not a lot about him.
Young guy. I got to tell you. So I was at the premiere for this film. This was one of the ones that I got to go as a guest, and it was huge. They shut down Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh yeah.
It was crazy. It was massive. They did the thing that they do in front of the Chinese theater sometimes, where they shut down like full 3 city blocks.
Yeah.
And it's like full 3 city blocks of parties, food trucks and booths and
red
pictures
carpets and famous people,
installations. Crazy, huge event. And they showed the film on 5 different screens at the same time. But the one main, there's like 4 other screens, and then the one main screen is where the cast all was. And that's the one that we got to be in, thankfully, though I was in like the lower right, and it was 3D. So when that whole like cloaking sequence with the plane was happening, with like the reflective panels, and I'm 3D off to the right, like 20 feet in front of the screen, I wanted to just kill myself. It was the worst. But I actually had to take the glasses off at one point. But I will tell you that John Watts came up and spoke for about 5 minutes before the film, and he looked like a kid in a candy store. He was, I mean, yeah, he seemed young. He seemed incredibly excited, just like, I got to make a Spider-Man movie, and he made it his way. Like everything from like the Ramones playing in the credits to like the humor, like a lot of the stuff that he did in this movie is funny. Like when they go to the after the Washington Monument, and that guy whose name I can never remember, the debate teacher.
Oh yeah,
decathlon teacher.
Yeah.
They go to him and he's like, I couldn't stand the thought of losing a kid on class again.
Not again. Never again. And he's like crying, and you're like, Jesus. It's wonderful.
And it's funny. They like do a really good job with that shit.
And like, they do a great job of injecting awkward humor, like at the very end when Happy's just waiting in the bathroom. He's like, I've been here for a very long time.
The kids,
awkwardly long
all the high
time.
school kids are
Yeah.
like funny and charming.
Yeah, well, they're high school kids, you know. Like, I mean, there's a dark side to high school kids as well, but there's also like this wonderful innocence that you get to see in this movie.
So
yeah.
John Watts does a great job with this. I think he definitely brought his own flavor to the MCU, and that's a testament to the MCU for picking the right people. I mean, you get.
And if you want, I feel like this is your moment. I mean, you know so much more about Kevin Feige than I do. He's the producer, obviously, with Amy Pascal. They work together so often, and he's kind of he's the lifeblood of the Marvel of the Marvel universe.
He's a genius behind it all. And as we've gotten further and further down the road and done more and more of it, like it's just been proven to be more and more true. He's not just a figurehead. He's not just a name. He's a guy that has the vision. He's had the vision.
He's a prophet in Hollywood. He literally saw something from 15 years ago and was like, I'm going to make something in a few years.
Yep.
And then 10 years later, it's going to be the biggest thing that anyone's ever seen.
What was the last one we got was Ant-Man and the Wasp? Was that right?
Yeah.
That was number 20?
Yeah.
It was number 21. That was 20, I think.
And then, like, on Infinity War, when we covered it, you said that movie was the greatest accomplishment in the greatest cinematic accomplishment in our lifetime. And I couldn't disagree with you.
Here's my question to you. We had talked about this prior, and there'll be another episode to probably do this, but do you think you have your definitive MCU rankings in your head? Like, have you thought about it enough to, like, I don't need to put you on the spot unless you want to.
Yeah, I probably could.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't think I want to right now.
Yeah, because there's a lot.
There's a lot. And I have to really think about it. Then old Thors get thrown in, and it just becomes you know how much I love Spader.
I'd have to, like, for me, like, the obvious ones are, I'm pretty certain
Infinity War is the best.
Infinity War at this point is number 1. Maybe Winter Soldier, but it's like it's Winter Soldier, Infinity War, and Guardians are my 3 favorites.
Right.
That's like in some order. I'd have to, and then after that,
But then like Ragnarok is so good, Homecoming's so good.
And then the worst ones I think are pretty clearly Thor 1, Thor 2, Iron Man 2, and
Iron Man 3
probably
is pretty bad
Ultron.
too.
I like Iron Man 3 a
I know
little
you
more.
do. Yeah. Ultron definitely.
That's probably
I'm like
the
one of
worst
the
ones.
only people that actually likes Ultron, and it's still not that good. Yeah, it's really about the middle of the pack and how you even those out, and then like the top, the 3, 4, and 5.
And the weird ones to me are like the hardest ones to rank are like Guardians 2 and like movies like that where you're like, the movie was really good. I loved it. I laughed my ass off. I thought it was fantastic. But like, is it gonna make the top 10? Because like,
Right.
there's 10 really good ones now.
Yeah, and like people in here is like, I really like Thor 1, or I really disagree with these rankings, and that's the thing is there's so much about them that you'll just like or hate for your own personal reasons. And
So I
there's
think
just no
we'll
way.
probably, I would guess that perhaps when Captain Marvel comes out, we'll rank them.
Yeah.
Something like that. Probably the next time we do an MCU movie that's new, that's probably when we'll do that segment.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So hopping into critical and box office, this is a Sony Columbia production. It cost $175 million to make. It opened July 7th of last year. It grossed $334 million domestic, an additional $45 worldwide, for a grand total of $880 million, just shy of that billion mark, and it made $117 million in its opening weekend. It's got a 7.5 on IMDb, which I think is hilarious, because did you know that Starship Troopers has a 7.2? Isn't that crazy?
It's wonderful.
Yeah. 92 by all critics, 91 by top, and an 88 by audience.
Did Andreyko say that he loves Verhoeven? Was he like a huge Verhoeven fan?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he's an enormous Verhoeven
Yeah.
fan.
And like those stories about Paul on the show,
Yeah.
he seems like a cool dude. He
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of Gavin,
Yeah.
you know, in the sense of like sticking to things that he wants to do, and he's
He's made
unwavering.
some weird movies.
Yeah, he's made some really weird movies.
Yeah.
But that was a cool episode. Yeah, make sure you guys check out last week's episode. We had Ed Neumeier and Mark Andreyko on to cover Starship Troopers, and the week before that, we had the amazing Real Rejects, John Humphreys and Greg Alba, on to cover Grosse Point Blank. Love that movie. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
I loved how you opened the show. You're like, I split into 2 people.
Yeah.
It's the 2 of them. It was very funny. Favorite line?
It's probably the when he asks her to homecoming.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I love that he's like, you probably have a date. And she's like, no, I was so busy I hadn't asked anyone. I was like, do you want to go? And she's like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have to go this way actually. I'm going this way actually.
There's a couple lines that I really loved. The Hannibal Buress.
Yeah.
He's like, pretty sure this guy's a war criminal now, but whatever, I gotta show these videos, so let's do it. He blows the whistle, like, that shit cracked me up because it was just, like, that's every teacher in high school. I love when Tony takes the suit away, and Peter's like, I wanted to be like you, and he's like, right now I need you to be better.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Everyone knows Iron Man knows that he's not
The best.
the best.
Yeah.
There's better than him all the way around. And then, of course, the Keatons, I'll kill you and everybody that you love.
Yeah. Is he Russ Cole there?
He's Russ Cole. I'll kill you.
The other line that I really like is at the end when Liz says, whatever's going on with you, Peter, I hope you figure it out. Because that's a really sad line because you realize that, like, he's never going to figure it out. And what's going on with him is never going to stop. And it's always going to be this way.
And he can never tell her.
Yeah. And for her, she's just like, what was the deal with this kid? Is he gay? Like, is he not into me?
Yeah.
What is it? What's he hiding?
What possibly could have happened in the car with my dad, who is now in jail?
Right.
To make, so that was, very, very, I'll kill you and anyone you care about. Yeah. Favorite line, I'm looking at porn. That's a great line, too. What else we got here? Porn, that's popped up a couple. Ned is very fantastic.
Ned's really good. He's like, and you were like, shh. And he's like, yeah. And he was like, oh, cool.
I also love in Infinity War when he's like, Ned, I need distraction. Oh my God, we're all gonna die just immediately. If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it at all. God, okay, I sound like my dad. It's a great line. Marissa Tomei, what the fuck? Okay, so hers at the very end. What
Love
the
Marissa
fuck?
Tomei.
Yeah, me too. She's wonderful. AMA questions. So this is it, guys. There was a ton of great ones online that I was looking at here. And we'll hop in with the very first one. I think this was a good movie, and I enjoyed it. But in your opinion, what do you think could have been done to make it better? And for me, I wanted Uncle Ben. I wanted the origin, and I wanted a little bit more. And this happens a lot, and that's the problem with the first ones, reboots and origins, is you want more of your superhero being a badass. But that's what the second movie's for.
Yep,
that's what it always is for. So I'll say those three things for me.
I wanted the Shocker not to be reduced to to reduce to this glove.
Yeah.
What's his name? Logan Michael Green just like gets incinerated and then it becomes Bokeem Woodbine. But like,
and someone acknowledged it was like, I thought that was the anti-gravity gun. That was their fist pump.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool.
Yeah.
What do you? So is the Shocker? Is he a bigger character in the comic books?
Yeah, he's a real character. Isn't the Shocker played by Jamie Foxx or is that Electro?
That's Electro.
And the Shocker is played by somebody else, or he's not in it.
I don't know.
Isn't Giamatti the Rhino?
He's the Rhino. Yeah. And then Thomas Hayden Church is the Thomas Hayden Church, right?
Thomas Hayden Church is the Sandman in the third one.
Yeah.
In the third one. Yeah.
Yes, not in the Andrew Garfield ones. Yeah.
Maybe the Shocker's never shown up.
I don't think he has. Guys, in the chat, anyone out there? Also, we had a lot of people in the chat today. We always love when we see those numbers in the chat, so thank you all for joining us. But yeah, if you guys ever saw the Shocker.
Any relation to the Silk Shocker?
I don't know what that is.
The Shocker is like one of the Spider-Man villains. I mean, there's like Spider-Man villains that are relevant. There's like 12 maybe.
Right.
Like really significant ones.
I want to see the Croc again. I really liked Bryce Ifans as him.
Yeah. I mean, there's the Lizard. There's the two Goblins. There's the Vulture. There's the Shocker, Sandman, Hydro Man, Electro, Carnage, Venom.
Carnage.
There's a character called Morbius. That was awesome. It's a vampire character. Mysterio.
Or no, not Mysterio.
Yeah,
Mysterio. That's the one that Jake's playing, right?
Yep,
which I think that'll be sweet.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that. Yeah, Gyllenhaal as a villain will be cool. So AMA questions. Did you have anything for that one or no?
Doc Ock. For what was the question again? What would have made it better?
To make it better?
Well, I think that's my answer. It's not making Shocker
just that. Okay, gotcha.
I just think like it just. I mean, it was cool and everything, and like it's one of those things where filmmaker is like, I don't need to stay canon. Like I can do whatever I want with this, and I'll just make this glove like the Shocker. Like it'll be like kind of a nice nod. But it's also just like, then why? Then just give him the glove then. Don't call him the Shocker.
Yeah, just dumb it down.
Because now if you ever want to use the Shocker, it's like
you can't.
Kind of dumb.
It's stupid. Yeah. Paul Denuzzo, where do you rank Michael Keaton as a villain in the MCU? He's my favorite part of the movie, and I mark him in the noble villain category. I agree with the noble villain.
I mean, after Thanos, who's second best? Loki and him?
Really?
They're the two good ones? I mean, who the hell else is good? Most of the villains are terrible. Yellow Jacket played by Corey Stoll, or like Whiplash.
What about
Ben Kingsley's Mandarin?
What about the big fiery guy in Thor? What's his name again?
In the third movie?
Yeah.
You're talking about the thing he fights at the beginning?
Thing fights at the end that kills Hela, takes over the whole planet.
Yeah, the thing he fights at the beginning.
What's the stupid thing's thing called?
It's a Sarlacc pit. No, he's called.
He's actually kind of got a sweet name. Oh, Killmonger is another one people like a lot.
Oh yeah, Killmonger's sweet.
He was whatever.
Newer.
Yeah.
You and I both have. I feel like you and I both are just like. I feel like if Black Panther hadn't been so overhyped, I'd like that movie a lot more. But the overhype on it killed it for me.
It did.
It ruined it. It made me never want to watch it
I
again.
highly recommend watching it again because I watched it twice over the last week.
Really good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
It really is, and all the things about it that people love, you love. It does make black culture amazing. Coogler does all the things that he does with Michael B. Jordan so well. I think that now the hype's dying down. It's just more. It's easier to enjoy without feeling like I have to enjoy it.
Who do you like more as a young director with 3 hits?
Coogler or Sheridan?
Coogler or Damien Chazelle? La La Land, Whiplash. You haven't seen First Man yet, but I just saw it.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's his third best. Or Creed, Fruitvale, and Black Panther.
I think I still have to go Chazelle.
Yeah, he's made some.
I just love
all
La La Land
timers
so much. Yeah. Let's see. Panther was average at best. Surtur is the big fire guy. No wonder we didn't remember his name. So
Surtur.
Bucky also. He's also a noble villain.
Because he's a villain, but
Yeah.
he's not a villain anymore.
I think I put him second then. I think I put him second actually in front of Killmonger and behind Thanos. I don't think anyone can beat Thanos.
No.
He's so good.
Thanos is thick.
He is. Let's see. This is kind of fun. Alternate AMA question. Which of your edgy high school classmates does Zendaya's Michelle most remind you of?
You guys, some of you know this about me, guys, but so I went to 3 years of high school. I left high school when I was 16 with a diploma, and I didn't go to college. And I went to a super alternative high school in Seattle with like couches, no desks, like homeroom teacher. I took classes in college when in 10th grade, and like that's what I did for high school. I didn't really have a real high school. We didn't have a prom. We didn't have like sports teams. It was like 200 kids. So I don't like have that high school experience and memory of this. Like I always enjoy watching stuff like this, but I never experienced this. This was not a thing that I can relate to at all. So what's your answer?
I did have a girl like this. I did go to like a very normal like high school experience, and her name was Abby Fujioka. I still love Abby.
You played high school football.
I played high school football. I did theater. I did track. I did all the things. Yeah, she reminded me of Abby. I don't know why, but she
I
just
love
did.
her in this movie.
She's fantastic.
And what do you think about the MJ drop?
I actually like it.
Yeah,
I also really love her. That's like my favorite moment of hers in the movie. But and then when she also sketches Hannibal in the class.
Yeah.
I kind of loved it. It for me, it wasn't the whole JGL saying Robin thing. It was like much more of a. I also never thought about this coming.
Yeah, right. And
You know?
and like, do you know? Are they going to use it in the second movie? Do you have any idea?
Do I know? Do you know?
No.
Oh, I feel like they have to, especially
Right?
with how famous she is now.
Yeah.
Much more famous.
You'd
she
think
is now.
so.
Yeah,
But she'd be a weird MJ. Like
she really would be.
if it's Michelle, it's not Mary Jane. Like
Yeah. Oh, wow. Here we go. So Paul says Michelle is one of the worst. Paul Oyama says Michelle is one of the worst MCU characters, period, to be honest. That's very interesting. Oh, yeah. And William Belford goes, McQueen has 12 years a slave, shame, and hunger. I have a hard time with hunger. Movie's gnarly.
never saw it.
Yeah. I still stick with Chazelle. And then let's see. The very last one.
Chazelle has one other film, by the way. He did like a 90-minute musical before he did Whiplash that like nobody ever saw, but it's technically not his debut 3. Just for the record.
This is tough between these two questions. Maybe I'll actually end up asking both. Really quickly, what do you think of RDJ, over under proper, in the movie?
He's great. He always is great.
He's excellent.
He's perfectly used. He'd probably filmed everything in a day.
Yeah,
like
a couple days, yeah.
Maybe 2 days of filming. He did everything probably, and like his job at this point is so easy.
Yeah,
but it's just, I mean, it's gonna be
just
over
be the
soon.
coolest dude ever in every scene that you're in,
and wear a suit, show up, say some snappy lines,
and just have a good time. And on set, like when we, Matt was telling us that when Robert's on set, it's not a Marvel movie day.
No,
it's a Robert Downey day.
Yeah.
It's everything we do is about Robert. It's all on his schedule. It's all on his time. Every scene is about him. Everything is about him. It is not a Avengers day. It is a Robert Downey Jr. day, which is in $1 billion production. That's pretty hot
You're
shit.
the guy. I mean, he's the guy. You
yeah.
can't like these movies. It makes sense. It makes sense after doing a decade of these films. He's just like, give me a little bit of respect.
He's the start. He's the beginning. He just shouldn't have to wear a fucking suit that weighs 50 pounds if he doesn't want to.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So, guys, thank you so much for submitting all your AMA questions. We love answering them as always. What's next, Bateman?
There are 3 action movie categories to choose from. Totally ridiculous, totally legitimate, and ridiculously legitimate without boring you because I've explained them a million times. Which category do you think this film fits into?
Totally legit. Because it's a superhero movie, so there's got to be a superhero in it.
Yeah.
But everything else about it feels completely great.
How would you feel if in the second film Aunt May starts dating a boyfriend that Peter doesn't get along with?
Then I'd hope Tobey Maguire was that boyfriend.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
He's so
that would
good.
be wonderful. And he had like a really
Peter?
he had like a really bad goatee.
Yeah, and he's his stepdad. He's got a comb over.
Like maybe like a ponytail.
That I would watch the shit.
I'd
out
watch
of that.
the shit out of that
Would be, yeah, exactly. Where do you rank it?
That'd be amazing.
Oh, dude, we need to pitch that to SNL.
That's a pitch right there. Yeah. I put it in the same as you. Totally legit. Because it doesn't make any mistakes. It doesn't make you laugh unintentionally. It's not missing the mark. It's just really good. It's funny and it works and it's heartfelt and you just feel for him when he says to May, like, I lost the Stark internship, and like obviously it's code for what really happened, but like,
And you see her kind of let down her guard of being angry.
yeah, and
Yeah.
because he's just this kid and he's like, this is the coolest thing in the whole world. I'm an Avenger now. And then the payoff is just so great in Infinity War when he actually gets to be an Avenger. It's like,
Oh, that moment.
yeah,
Because it's the moment of his look on his face is like, oh shit.
yeah,
I got what I wanted.
you're an Avenger.
I don't want to be here right now.
Yeah, and he's like, that movie's so good. There's movies, I swear to God, I just want to do on this show again because I like them so much. And that movie, when I like watched it again recently, was just like, man.
I feel like, yeah. I mean, I totally get what you're saying. It feels inappropriate, but
Yeah.
it would be nice to like have a day of Marvel recollection, Ed Harris recollection, whatever.
Yeah,
it
right.
is,
These
Nick
movies,
Cage,
these movies I want to talk about again. So maybe someday we get to start another show.
Toby dating Marissa Mateo would be the least believable thing in the MCU. Oh, that'd be hilarious as hell. You'd have to get Garfield in there somewhere too. Who would Garfield be?
Garfield's the teacher. He like teaches at school.
Yeah.
He's like the young new. He's like the young new science teacher. Yeah. I just want Toby to be slightly balding, have a goatee and a ponytail,
And like be Tom Holland's stepdad.
and ride drive like an old Camaro.
Like an 84. Like it's not cool.
Age him up. He's playing like 48.
So good. All right.
Give
Oh,
him give him like a little bit of a gut, probably just a little bit though.
One thing I was going to say is we do have the Battle Royale, and we haven't mentioned our pages today. We have the Action Movie Anatomy fan page and the Action Army fan page. Both of these pages are dedicated to entities of our personalities. The Action Movie Anatomy one is dedicated to the show. The Action Army is more catered to our Schmodown personalities. But on the Action Movie Anatomy page, there is a Battle Royale going on. You guys can go there and vote every single day. Paul and Richard do a wonderful job of keeping that up to date every single day. And that is actually how we could cover another movie again. So go and vote. If you guys want to see Infinity War again, you want to see MI3 again.
Yeah, whatever wins. Is that what we're gonna cover
We're
again?
gonna do it again. And it's actually been like, and this is no slight to anyone that's ever promised doing anything for us because we know how life is, but the fact that they've kept it going for now, it feels like almost a year or something. It's for like 6 months, 7 months.
Yeah.
And like every single day is a new post and there's tons of votes. Like we will 100% do that movie again.
In the chat, guys, tell us right now. So what are the because it's in brackets, right? It's like you win a group and you go to the next group.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what are like some of the hot tickets right now that are still in the running?
Yeah, Paul and Richard, throw in the chat here some of the biggest contenders that you think are going to be in the finals, if you will. And then, oh yeah, the other thing that we have to mention, Ben and I received a wonderful present from our good friend Jay Clymer Hammett.
Yes, it's unreal, and you can see it right now. It's the banner page on the Action Movie Anatomy fan page. It's a personally hand-drawn cartoon of Andrew tackling John Roca. I've got 2 belts over my shoulders.
Yeah, it's got all the horsemen in the bottom of it from the movie Trivia Schmodown, and he actually went through and labeled all of the characters that he drew,
Yeah.
so we could figure out they're all from films we've covered.
Yeah.
He sent 2 copies. One of them was framed. Like,
It's
truly
the nicest
coolest thing.
It's so awesome. Like, honestly, it's so happy.
Yeah, that
So
coupled with
thankful.
the trophy from Nick Gilmore and the booze and the glasses from Richard and
Oh,
Paul.
yeah.
Like, we are just so blessed to have you guys.
Very, very lucky. Yeah. 100%. Like it's the coolest shit. I'll have you know, Jay Clymer. Some of you guys remember that years ago when Drew and I started the show, we got a special gift from Colin Trevorrow, the director
yeah.
of Jurassic World, and it was a Simpsonized drawing. It's not too different from the one you gave us, actually.
Yeah.
Of the characters from Jurassic World. And at the time he gave us the one, it was framed, and I put it on my wall, and I've had it. And so when this one showed up, I was like, Drew, it's only fair. You get to keep
Yeah.
you get to keep the framed one.
Yeah, it was
so,
a cool
So
moment.
the framed one is now on Drew's wall. I've got obviously my copy. I'm gonna probably get framed myself, but we've each gotten to keep one of the awesome gifts we've gotten.
Yeah,
So
and ideally one day we will have an office or a studio that we shoot in.
Some
and
sort
we'll
of
just
man
have
cave.
all of our stuff that you guys have sent us over the years.
trophies.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
It'd be incredible. So
Dude, there's one more thing left, and we haven't got to do it in 2 weeks.
yeah, it's just called the Pitch.
Ooh, I was scared I was going to lose it.
Yeah.
I almost thought of doing it last week with Ed and Mark, but I was like, this will just not go well.
Oh, you didn't do it?
No, because I already did Still Dre when it opened up, and they're
And-
like 40-year-old white dudes.
And Draco's like, lovely song.
Lovely song.
This song is terrible.
Oh God, when Mark doesn't like something, he tries to make you feel like your whole family's stupid for even having you to like it.
What parts of Starship Troopers did you enjoy that he tore apart?
Nothing. Wow. That was the one thing, and I mentioned it at the top of the show. I was like, Mark, you really enjoy destroying things that I love, and so we actually found a movie that we could just completely agree on. So that's why you're on the show.
We're gonna try to have him back again. I think hopefully in the future. Maybe because Ed wrote RoboCop. We'll maybe do RoboCop and bring him back.
Yeah,
on
and Ed
for that.
wants to come back. I had a great time.
So next week we have the movie figured out. It's Django Unchained with Brianne Chandler, Miss Movies, former Brigadier General of the Action Army, an enormous supporter of the show and somebody we were very excited to have come back. So next week you guys will see Miss Movies here covering Django Unchained. Brianne Chandler, we salute you.
Absolutely.
So what's the verdict? Any front runners here? Do we Paul
yeah,
Richard?
so
or no?
T2, Empire, The Rock,
Yeah, Empire, T2, The Rock. This all makes
and
sense.
Blade Runner 2049.
Really,
Actually.
2049's been crushing.
Yep. Oh, Aliens and Matrix as well. Because there's a bunch of different. I mean, we've covered like 180 movies.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot of different
tons of subcategories. But those are, I think, the top 6. Oh, and of course, Warrior.
Yeah, right. And it's funny because Warrior and of those ones, I feel like the Matrix might be the one that I would enjoy recovering the most at this
Right.
point. We've talked about Warrior and The Rock so much.
There was one that I saw the other day that I thought was just going to be the hardest thing in the world for you to decide between. It was like Empire and
Prisoners.
And Prisoners. That's exactly what it was.
I picked Prisoners.
I would expect
I picked Prisoners.
I picked Prisoners. I would
You guys
expect
know I
nothing less.
have a real affection for that film. The other thing I've been thinking about too is like in different genres, the movies that I like. My favorite movies in other genres that I would just like die to cover and like do an episode on.
Right.
And one of them is The Social Network, and I think about it all the time. And
We'll do a mini AMA on our Patreon just for you for The Social Network.
it's so good.
It is.
It's like ludicrous how well written that movie is.
Full disclosure, I've only seen it once because I'm still mad at it.
I know. He didn't play both parts. He wasn't there together at the same time. So you were halfway right. Liam Hemsworth was standing in for one half, and they CGI'd him over Liam Hemsworth. You didn't know that?
God, don't go watch our Above the Line #1 contenders match because you will watch me play the worst round of movie trivia in my entire career. Guys, let's just end the show on that note. Huh?
On that note, yeah. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Marissa Serafini, thank you so much for being up in the booth today.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And guys, if you want to follow along, you can find me at Ben Bateman Media, Twitter and Instagram.
Find me at Andrew Guy.
And you can also find the show at AMA Podcast. Go tweet at us there. Thanks, guys. We'll be back. See you soon.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.